Hello, everyone. Good morning if you are in Canada. Morning if you are in Brazil. Good evening if you are in China. Today, we have three very special guests directly from China, directly from Hangzhou. They are three leaders of Hangzhou, three international women, global mindset. So the conversation today will be very interesting, and the topic is going to be power of community. I would like to introduce a little bit the three of them, and then I will add them to the show very soon. Kristyna is the co-founder of Hangzhou Repertory Theatre, leader of HaRT Improv, and proud drama teacher to some amazing students in China. Anna is a deputy office manager at a German textile company in their China office and GGI community manager. Lydia is an associate professor at Zhejiang University, lives in China for over 4 years, and helped bring Girl Gone International to Hangzhou. So now let's start with Kristyna. Hello. I think we can't hear you, Kristyna, for some reason. So I will add Anna to present herself, and then we can go back to you very soon. Hello, Anna.
Hello, Tawana. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Tawana, for having me today here in this conversation. Hi, everyone. My name is Anna. I come from Croatia, and I came to China in early 2019. And since I'm in love with everything what this country has to offer. I work for a German company that is in textile industry, and I joined GGI team in March 2020 when I was kind of feeling alone in China. And ever since December 2020, together with Lydia, that you will meet later, I am community manager of GGI Hangzhou.
Hi everyone, nice to see you all online. My name is Lydia, and I am also the co-manager of Girl Gone International in Hangzhou. When I finished my PhD in Australia, I was looking for work, and I wasn't really sure where in the world I belonged, and I ended up in China. And I thought to myself, if I make it 6 months, I can see if I like it and keep going. And now 4 years later, China is home for me, especially Hangzhou, where I'm an associate professor at the university. And I guess a few years now, 2 years ago, I helped to bring GGI with Sam and Christine to Hangzhou, helped to start it. And it's been a really fantastic journey for me to be part of a community and to help build it as well and manage it. So I'm very happy to talk to everyone today about what community means for me.
Thank you very much. Now I will add Kristyna again, and hopefully she will be able to introduce herself.
Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can. Yes? Okay, I'm just gonna roll with it. If you can't hear me, then you'll mute me again, which is fine. I'm Kristyna. I am the co-founder of Hangzhou Repertory Theatre, or HaRT. So if you see that at the end of my name, it is not my last name, and I do have cats. So they might pop in the screen every once in a while. I co-founded Hangzhou Repertory Theatre, which started as kind of just a dream of having people be able to sit around and read and do scenes and just have fun. And now we do shows, we have an improv team, we do workshops, and we do play readings where we sit around, drink wine, and just read fun plays and talk.
So the four of us are here now, and let's dig into these questions. So I would like to start with Anna. Anna, how is your work with community management with GGI, and if you can tell me what it takes to have this successful community in China?
Well, for me, being the community manager of GGI Hangzhou, it's a privilege, and it really makes me proud to be a part of this team. Well, having a community that is successful, I've been connected actually with the country itself. I feel like China is no different in creating a good community than any other country, and our community is made up of brave, curious, open-minded women that are from every country, every culture, and circumstances, and then I feel like having a good community is having a community that is open to all of those women that once packed their bag and left the home country, just headed out to the world and see what happens next, not being even able to know exactly what will happen next. And we try to create a meaningful community, a global and local community that kind of gives a support, that gives a connection and empowers women on their journey, whatever it is and whichever road they might take. So I try to promote the support, the safety, honesty, of course, and feminism and kindness and empathy. But above all, I would say that it is the most important thing is to promote the relationship and friendship. And that is one of the things which I think that makes community pretty strong and active. And in GGI Hangzhou, we try to, and we actually have to organize each month events, at least like one main event, and we have a book club that organizes an event. So keeping a community active, which I'm pretty proud of, that we have pretty active community in GGI Hangzhou. So keeping that community active, online and offline, kind of makes a pretty good community itself.
Great, very good. Your audio is not so clear for me, but I will ask the same question to Kristyna, because Kristyna founded a very important, in my opinion, community in Hangzhou a few years ago. So if you can tell us how is being this journey, and if you consider it to be actually successful.
I definitely think it could be more successful. It's led up not just by me. I may have helped to start it, but there are actually 4 of us who meet up monthly when we can and talk about ways to make it better, about how we can collaborate. And what I like to do with it is to connect the dots. Someone needs a person who is an artist. There's an artist in the group. Someone needs a musician. There's a musician in the group. And it's a way to bring people together who are separate, which is kind of what I found in the beginning. In 2019, we put on Midsummer Night's Dream, 16 people in the cast. I acted, directed, costumes, hair, makeup, and my wall gained a lot of holes from me bashing my head every once in a while. But the amazing part was discovering people who would say, I've wanted this, but there was nothing for me, which made me feel even more impassioned to bring people together to do this. So it's mostly a community of artists. We don't have a lot of major events, but it's a place to just connect and find people who are just as passionate about performing and arts and dancing and singing as you are.
Very nice, Kristyna. Thanks for your work. Thanks for your amazing work. And Lydia, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on this as well, because you actually helped to bring GGI to Hangzhou. So if you could tell us a little bit, if you think GGI Hangzhou is successful and what it takes to be successful.
Yeah, when I used to live in Nanjing before Hangzhou, and I actually went to one GGI meeting, I think their very first one there, because at that time in Nanjing, even though I'd been there for 2 years, I was looking to connect with more women, because I actually work with so many men. I'm in a science and it's a male-dominated field. And even just the very first meeting in Nanjing really inspired me. It was very comfortable. There was no pressure. There was no sales. There was no pitch. It was just to bring women together. And so then when I moved to Hangzhou, actually, Christine and Sam, we'd gotten together and we got a lot of support because Girl Gone International is a very global community. It's in over 200 cities around the world. So at least with GGI, it's kind of a cookie cutter approach where you get a lot of support from the global team and you get a lot of input into how to kind of start up your own location, your own local GGI. And then you get a lot of ongoing support. So for me, in terms of the success of GGI, I think we kind of were onto a good thing in that it's already so successful around the world. Here in China, we have active groups in Shanghai and Beijing and Nanjing and Chengdu, all over. And so I think it's been a real joy for me to help start it here in Hangzhou, not alone, definitely. And now we have a team of 5 and it's all volunteers. Actually, GGI Global is all 100% volunteer and we're all non-profit. So everything we do is at the community level to help to try and connect people. And really our key goal is just to bring women together, to make friends and find a space and to build that safety net and that supportive community, which really does help us all go further together.
Great. And the next question is about pursuing relationships to build a successful community. Did you feel that this is important? Again, with you, Lydia, and then we go to Kristyna and Anna.
I'll be honest, I feel like being in a management team has really helped me grow, and it's also helped me realize my own weaknesses. And I feel I personally have a lot of trouble reaching out and building those kind of networks and that sort of professional relationship. So luckily within our team, we all take certain roles, and quite often I really feel Anna particularly shines with building kind of community relationships and also with partners, because a lot of what we do, although we're all nonprofit, we still try and partner, especially with local businesses, especially with female-run businesses that can help us to do sort of events if it's a cultural event like tea picking, or even if it's just something like going to a small up-and-coming cafe that might have just opened. So we are always trying to work with local community and local businesses. But personally, I find it a bit of a challenge to build those relationships.
And what about you, Anna? Did you find important and a challenge to find or pursuing relationships in China to have a successful community?
Well, I believe that finding partners and friends, it is crucial to have a good community in China, especially for us as GGI, because we organize each month few events, so we have to have reliable partners, places that we always can come back to and that we can always repeat our collaboration. So I think it is very important to have a partners and the businesses that we work with every once in a while. And for me, I was scared in the beginning because I think that the language difference will kind of make a problem because I don't speak Chinese. I mean, just a little bit of Chinese, but that's not enough for making a good relationship. But to be honest, ever since I am a GGI manager or even part of a GGI, I never ever confronted someone who didn't speak English or find some problem that we couldn't work on. So yes, I believe it's very, very important to have good relationships with local communities and with local businesses. And I think it is, for us, it is always important to have someone that we can always come back to. I didn't find any problem, and I actually find it is kind of my thing in a team, if I can say. I'm really open person, so I don't see any problem to talking to someone new and finding some new connections for our community.
Thank you, Anna. The connection is not so good. I don't know if it's just for me, but let's move on. Kristyna, and what about for you? Because Hangzhou Repertory Theatre is a new community, and did you find important to pursue these relationships in China? What are your thoughts on that?
100%. A lot of people say that it's who you know, but it's actually how you get along with the people you know. There's nothing greater than sitting down, having a drink. And that, like a lot of the things that have happened in our community is because we just met people who we got along with and sat down. Another member of Hangzhou Repertory Theatre, Hannah, I remember in one of the first meets, we were all just sitting, drinking a beer, and we were asking around, what's something that you would love to see in the city? And she said, I would love for there to be weekly or bi-weekly play readings where we could sit around, drink, and read a play and just relax. Lo and behold, now we have that. when it comes to putting on a production, we need to have good relationships with people and keep those relationships, because it's all volunteer work. None of us get paid. In fact, the last show, we lost money, and that came out of our own pockets, but we're happy to do it because it's theater. But if you work with someone and you don't have a good relationship with them doing something voluntary, then you won't want to work with them again. And it's really good to have excellent relationships. So recently we had our improv show, and we did it at Horned Frog Brewing. And they messaged me after. They were really tentative because they haven't collabed like this before. And afterwards, they said, this was great. They loved it. Can we please do this long term, have a relationship with them long term, and keep doing shows with them? And that's what it's about. It's about having relationships in the community and bringing art to areas that normally just have maybe bands or trivia night. Not that those are bad. They are great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And again with you, Kristyna, do you believe that China is a huge opportunity market for this area? And what are your thoughts, and why did you actually started the community? Because it's a huge market, because it's good for your CV?
I have never, honestly, it was kind of selfish. I've never gone a year without being involved in theater or acting in some way. And I got here, and within 2 months, I was like, there's no theater. There's nothing for me to do. There's nothing I understand. I'm going crazy. And I sat down and had a talk with my partner at the time. And we decided that we wanted to try and do this and see if it was even possible. It started as a small idea for him, where we would do it in a friend's studio. And then I was like, no, make it big. I want it bigger. And so we ended up doing it at the Shangri-La Hotel, and we had a packed house one night, and it was amazing. But on the question of like, I just lost myself for a second. On the question of the market and why, China's kind of like a tentative child, in that China is typically a very safe place. They do what they consider to be safe. And there's some things which are a bit more risky. You know, opening it up and doing theater is not easy in this city. The loops you have to go through to do a performance are insane. You have to have connections in the government. You have to have friends who have connections in the government. You have to know someone who's Chinese, who can speak with the people in the government, and who can, who's bum to kiss and all that. And it's not easy getting those permissions. But once you are in, and they see what you can bring, and they see the good and the connections culturally that it brings, and the connections within the culture of China to the external, that's when it opens doors. But you have to first pry that door open and get the child to try some foods that they've never tried before.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree that you need to pursue those relationships in order to operate things in China. And Lydia, what about for you? Do you think that China was an opportunity market? That's why you started GGI. Do you think it's good for your career, or it's just a personal motivation to get connected with other women, international women?
Yeah, for me, it really is that kind of personal motivation. I myself was looking to make Hangzhou feel like home. I joined some running groups, and Hangzhou has an incredible market in terms of there are so many incredible groups here, and there are so many active groups. But I was really looking to build that sort of safety net and that feeling of home and connection. So for me, really, that's what it's about. It's about as much actually just being a member of the community that I'm helping to manage. And I think that's really special. I think for me personally, it's made my life in Hangzhou much more stable, much more secure, much more enjoyable, a lot more fun. And I meet women from all over the world that I really wouldn't have necessarily found in any other way. But in terms of a market, I think we are so lucky in Hangzhou that we are almost flooded. This incredible event where Christine pulled us all together, all of the the women in different groups to come together for a month. And we were overwhelmed, I think, personally, in terms of them being so many events and there being so many incredibly strong female leaders and also leaders of groups who are just interested in building community for different reasons. Some are profit, some are non-profit, but a lot of them are genuinely about building community. And I think in that sense, there's a huge market for that in Hangzhou. There's so many different interest groups. So I think that's kind of special. I think we're very lucky.
Exactly. It's the best part about doing community management is that we can get along with a lot of women from all over the world. And it's very important for our lives when we are living abroad. And for you, how can you complement each other? What is your position in GGI about more specifically? And Lydia, how do you complement each other?
Well, yeah, I think like we get along pretty fine, and I'm really happy and proud for being able to say that out loud. I feel like our GGI team, 5 of us right now, GGI Hangzhou, and each one of us have kind of its own role, and we complement each other pretty fine, and we get along for quite 1 year now. Well, my role is kind of together with Lydia to organize each month an event for our GGI ladies. And this is what I find really interesting. I love organizing an event, and this is one of the skills which I didn't know I like so much. I knew I love organizing stuff, but I didn't know I love it so much. But GGI kind of helped me discover that part of myself as well. So I'm the one who in our team is open to approach the new businesses, to the new restaurants, bar, hotels, and I find it really interesting. And for me, that is one of the skills which I through GGI managed to even develop more. So, and other members are here for whatever we have to do to organize a good event, to, I don't know, make a poster, to collect maybe some money to follow the sign ups and so on and so on. There's a lot of stuff that you have to do when you are organizing an event. So I feel like each and every one of us at the time when we are organizing an event covers one thing. But if some of us cannot be there that month or work, or maybe it's just too busy, or sometimes even like wants to rest that month, let's say that way, then we cover it for that person. And that's why I love our GGI team, especially because through this we also friends.
Thank you. Your connection is still a little bit lagging, but let's keep going. Kristyna, how about your team? Who are in your team? How many people are in your team? How do you organize everything with your team?
My team is comprised of 4 people. There's me, Hannah Roberts, Noah Epler, and Paul. And we all have, like, we bring something completely different to the group. Hannah brings a I'm a very sporadic, very hyperactive person, and I can't stay on task. Hannah helps me stay on task. Noah brings in conversations that wouldn't be brought up, proposes plays that are incredibly classical and typically involve topics that none of us are comfortable with. For some reason, they always involve incest. I don't know. But and then Paul brings a lot of history and a lot of experience to the team. So it's an evolving, growing team. The other original founder is no longer a part of that team, but he's still contributing in Hangzhou community with Screaming Lemur improv team, and still trying to bring people together as well. So like we each bring different ideas, different goals, different backgrounds and cultures to the group. And I really love that. And I also like that it's mixed. It's even with men and women. And I like that. I like the balance.
I feel like this is so rich. This is the most interesting part of doing things, that something that you're passionate about with such a diverse team. And I feel like SheUp, Hangzhou Repertory Theatre, and GGI all have this very interesting mixture. But let's go into adapting to China's working style. I don't know if you feel that in the community management work. I would like to talk with Lydia about that. And also because she's a professor in Hangzhou University, and maybe give us some insights. Do you feel like it's important for your community management work to understand the working style in China?
I think when it comes to event planning here that we do for our GGI meetups, if it's something as casual as a ladies' night, or if we've organized a brunch, or if we're going to do something a bit more like Tai Chi in a temple, which was very ambitious, I think what's really important is to take a deep breath and to be flexible. I think one of the incredibly special things about working and living in China is that we're constantly pushed to be more flexible. And which for me is really good as a very organized kind of strict person. I really enjoy the thrill of trying to make something work and to being open to making it work in whatever way we can, which I think is kind of exciting. So we held an event where we did some Tai Chi in a temple, but we didn't necessarily know if we could access the temple until the day. And kind of the thrill of running around and trying to make it work behind the scenes so that our community could have a really nice day. I think it goes back to my waitressing days when I waitressed my way through university, and I just love the thrill of putting on a face and making something work. And it was amazing. And I think living and working in China very often puts me outside of my comfort zone, both professionally and just in my social life. And I think being a community manager for GGI has definitely done that as well. I don't think there are barriers. I think there are just different ways of doing things. And I think if we are respectful and we take a deep breath, and we can really get incredibly things done at a community management level, especially, but yeah, for these kind of events.
I would like to ask a kind of a different question to Anna, because she works in business. She's a manager in a global company as well. Do you feel like through your work in GGI, you hold this position as well in your daily office work? Do you feel like you are influencing other women to pursue leadership positions? Anna?
I hope I did hear you well. To be able to do the community manager position, of course, it connects to my work as well, because as I mentioned before, the skills that I managed to develop through GGI definitely connects to the skills that I will be able to use in my business, and likewise, and the other way around, definitely. And as Lydia mentioned, we kind of can get to some situations that are at the time hard to understand, but as she said, we got breathe deep and try to solve a situation that's a moment hard for us, because our goal is always to build a supportive group and open-minded and active, and we try to build a empowering sisterhood which brings each and every one of us together. And having that in mind kind of brings us forward to that goal, that whichever problem we can find in managers, if we have that mission in our head, we will be able to solve that problem. Well, I think it's for me so positive, because as I mentioned before, I didn't know that I want so much to be a manager, that I want to be head of something before I joined the GGI management team. So it kind of I feel like it's going to give back to me as a business person as well. I work as an office manager, and I communicate every day with local people. I work every day with my local Chinese co-workers. So all of that together made me a little bit of a different person. I'm from Europe. I came from a German company, which can be pretty straightforward and pretty strict. And I feel like in China, it is a little bit more based on a friendship, you know. It is more based on a calm situation that we will find together a way to deal with something, and then we get a little bit breathe deeper than we did in Europe. We are pretty strict over there. Yeah, I also thank TGI for that, for calming me in that way, and for changing my approach, my mind and eyes in some way.
Interesting. Very nice. Thanks, Anna, for your insights. Kristyna, what about for you? Do you feel that you are influencing other women, especially in an area that we don't see a lot of women leading this kind of projects in Hangzhou, arts or repertory theatre? I lived in Hangzhou for 5 years, and you were the first woman that I saw leading up such an important project for the international community.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I actually haven't talked to other women to see if it's encouraging them or pushing them to do more, but I know that those who have worked with us are so grateful. I know that there are those who love theater, they love performing, they love getting creative, and this is an outlet for them. This is a way that they can meet with people and express themselves. One of my favorite, and this is a great story, is I went to, I believe it was a SheUp meeting. I'm going to say question mark because it could have been WeWork, and I don't want to say the wrong one. I think it was SheUp, and I met this girl named Miri who works there, and she's a designer from South Korea, and one of the most amazing people that I've ever worked with. So fun, so upbeat, so positive. And during the show, like I was astounded. I was so surprised because typically women who are business women, you don't see them flourish and shine, but she ceased to be Miri and she became Peas Blossom. She became the fairy, and we often got them confused. We are pretty certain that she was actually the fairy in disguise as a human in regular day. So I haven't noticed it being a leading thing, but I've noticed it allowing other women and other people in general to feel the freedom to express themselves creatively. Oh, you're muted.
That is very powerful. So to finish, I think this is going to be the last question. I want each of you to tell your opinion about other communities in China. What are the most important communities for you? Why they are important? How they helped you? Lydia starts.
There's literally too many to name, I think. When I was trying to answer this question, I think the ones I really pick up on are ones where communities that bring people together to do something. So I just love Sabrina's, beer tasting and making group where you can go along and get your hands in there. I'm kind of involved in a running group for a long time. I love going every week and going for a run with people, having dinner and leaving. There's a Tuesday hiking group that every Tuesday sets up a different hike and you join in, and it's just wonderful. You know, there are so many, but I think usually the ones I'm really attracted to are the ones that involve an activity that brings people together. So I think that's the short answer for me.
Anna, for you?
I guess I couldn't agree more with Lydia. It's definitely way too many communities, successful communities in Hangzhou, and just being able to live here and to experience all of those communities, it is nice and it's privilege. For me, I live in a part of Hangzhou that is kind of far away from the city center, from downtown. So my local community over here in Olympic is pretty important to me because I found here some of my very best friends in Hangzhou. Besides that, there is one community in Hangzhou called the networking community. They kind of bring together people that are in business or that sort of community, and they organize each month an event. And all sorts of topics are covered over there about taxation in China, about people that started some businesses over here and everything what they went through. So me as a person working in a German company, in a business company, it's definitely good, and I love to see like-minded people that went probably through the same thing as I went through.
Exactly. For business people, networking communities, definitely very good, and HeHub as well. What about for you, Kristyna? What are the most beautiful, important, nice for you?
This is going to sound horrible, but I'm not that involved in communities. When I first arrived to Hangzhou, I was like, I'd meet at everything. I want to be a part of everything. I would go to every party, every event. So I'd say one of my favorites is Life in Hangzhou, because that was my first community that I ever became a part of. And Turaya made me feel like I was part of a family. Whenever she would host events, it felt like one big family, enjoying food, enjoying drink, enjoying each other's presence. And then she got stuck overseas. GGI has been so important to me because like GGI makes me feel connected, and it makes me feel community. SheUp makes me feel empowered. HaRT International, I love taking care of animals. I'm fostering a cat right now who's quite sick, and he's at the vet getting care that he needs. And I love that there's a community of people who reach out and just help. I also love the beer one because I love beer and I drink way too much. Sabrina and I actually are past due for a beer fest together. So they're just like Anna and Lydia both said, there are so many groups that connect us in completely different ways. And I love it that there is something for absolutely everyone.
Exactly. Communities that connect us in different ways, fulfilling different needs for international people that live in China. I completely agree with all of you. And unfortunately, we are coming to an end. So final words to everyone who's watching, watch it, or who's going to watch. Lydia first.
I think my final words would be to get involved. If you see something that's not happening and you want to start it, reach out to the communities and see if they're interested in collaborating. If you see a community doing something that you love and you want to get involved, approach them. Some of GGI's best events have been proposed or organized by our members, and we love that. So get involved. I mean, we're not apart from each other. We are the same community. So please reach out to us.
Anna.
Well, I would agree with Lydia, and I would say, like, if you need a support and you maybe had some idea, I'm sure that someone else has that idea too. So be the brave one, do something, and let's create a community for yourself and to give back to the community you live in. Just I'm sure that everything will be worth it. Just go ahead.
And beautiful Kristyna.
I would say that every single person I've ever met has something to offer. Don't be afraid of proposing what you have to offer. That's how my group started, is we found a hole and we filled it by finding other people who are interested in it. There are so many groups, and there are still things that haven't happened. There's still books that haven't been written and collaborations that haven't been had before. So if there is something that you want in the city, take that step to find someone who is able to help you make that happen. I guarantee there will be at least a dozen people who are interested in working alongside you.
Nice words from these beautiful ladies, intelligent, powerful, first of all, that should go first. Thank you very much for contributing, and thanks everyone who's watched and stayed with us until the end patiently with our connections and, you know, all the difficulties that we have through these digital transformation times. But thank you very much, ladies, for your time and for your amazing work, brilliant work towards community management. Bye-bye.